Hello and welcome back to FM Scout. My name is Reus, and coming up on today's show, we're going to show you 10 players that we think you should definitely avoid at all costs in Football Manager 2022. So before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already to FM Scout, and why wouldn't you be? And if you fancy it, go over and check my channel. It's called FM Wonderkids. We talk about Wonderkids and stuff. The link is in the video description. Let me show you player number one. I've gone with Ousmane Dembélé first, right? A very, very good player on the face of it, technically, with acceleration, agility, pace, flair, technique, and dribbling all in the green here on this save. And it's a great example to show you first of the type of player we'll be talking about today, right? It's generally the type of player that you could get trapped into signing because they look so good on the surface. But when you delve deeper into their hidden attributes and look at your scout reports, etc., you can see that either they're going to be potentially very inconsistent for your team or have a problem with injuries as well as some other issues as well. So Dembélé, 24 years old, not only is he going to want like massive wages, right? Like 275 grand per week he's on at the moment. But if we look into our scout reports, we've got a big massive red there on our cons list saying might have a problem with injuries. That's a hard avoid straight away, right? He does have enjoy big matches, which I think is quite good, to be honest with you. Does have possesses great pace, etc, etc. But listen, if you're going to be paying this kind of money for a player and these kind of wages for a player, you 100% don't want one that has a massive might have a problem with injuries on his scout report. Dembélé is a hard avoid for us. Paolo Maria next, someone who used to be a really good wonder kid in Football Manager, and you would be forgiven for going back and signing him again in this game. But listen, although he does look like he's got the potential to be a very good player in the game, again, when you look underneath the bonnet, there are some issues, right? Here on the cons list, again, we've got that massive red might have a problem with injuries. For this reason, Maria, again, is a hard avoid for us. Marco Reus next. Look how sexy his attributes are, right? Insane. He's got finishing, first touch, and free kick taken, all 16. His mentals are through the roof. His physicals, okay, aren't that great. But listen, this is a kind of player that, on the surface of it, looks amazing. To be honest with you, he looks really, really good. Let's have a look at what the scouts are saying. Okay, there it is again. Look, could have a real problem with injuries. That is a massive stumbling block if you want to go and sign Reus. This player could be a trap. Does have some great cons there. Look, consistent performer, relishes big matches. But if he's sat on your injury table with that big fat red, could have a real problem with injuries. You need to look elsewhere for the kind of player that you're looking for if you want to sign Reus, right? Really, really good on the surface, but he's just going to be injured. And there's no point in signing injured players. Mohamed Ihattaren then, and again, I apologise if I got the pronunciation wrong there. Someone again who on the surface looks really good. Left-footed, 19-year-old Dutch player with first touch here of 16 in this save, dribbling of 15, technique 17, flair 14, composure 14, agility 15, etc. What's not to like? I mean, he's cheap, his wages are small, but again, looking into his scout reports, there are some big issues. Lack of determination can hinder him in some certain situations, so that's like a question about his professionalism, etc. Might have a problem with injuries, which again, that is very, very red, right? And the deeper red these icons are generally means the more of an issue it's going to be for your team or for the player that you're looking at buying. Needs work on becoming a more consistent performer if he's to develop further. So listen, not only is he inconsistent, but he's also got a problem with injuries. A massive hard avoid here for us. Eden Hazard next. Once an absolute world beater, but I think it's fair to say since he went to Real Madrid, he hasn't really played much football. If we look at his history here, I mean, he signed for Real Madrid 88 million, and he's played, what's that, 31 games? I'm not very good at maths. That's 30 games, right? And scored 4 goals across the first 2 seasons, right? He's got a problem with injuries. But look at those stats, right? Eden Hazard could be such a huge trap for you to fall into, right? 19 dribbling, first touch 17, passing 16, penalty taken 19, technique 18. He looks like a worldie. And he would be a worldie if it were not for his problem with, you've guessed it, injuries. Big fat red might have a problem with injuries here. For that reason, we do not recommend buying Eden Hazard. You'd be paying through the roof on his wages. You'd be paying through the roof, I would assume, on his transfer fee. He does relish big matches, okay, of course, like he will have quite a lot of pros, like fairly consistent performer as well, which is good. That is a good thing. But if he's going to be on your sidelines again with injury, you want to be getting that big chunk of money that you're spending on your world-class, world-beating player and buying someone else. You just want to be buying someone else who's not injured. Emre Mor next, 23-year-old Turkish player who in the past looked like he was going to turn into an absolute world beater. Really good stats here on Football Manager 2022 in this save. Anyway, acceleration 17, agility 17, technique 16, dribbling 17, flair 17, first touch 16. One of those players who you could probably go out and sign quite easily, 6.4 to 7.8 million. Here my scout is telling me, but he has a problem, right? His problem is consistency. Look how red that is. Inconsistent performer. He's a selfish player. His lack of team ethic can place an extra burden on his team. Oof, aren't you glad we scouted this player for you, right? Don't go and sign Emre Mor. In our opinion, these cons are enough to say no. Go elsewhere. Ezequiel Barco next. A really promising looking Argentinian, 22 years old. Very good stats in this save where it counts, right? For that position, you got dribbling, first touch, passing, off the ball determination, flair, stamina. He looks like an essential player. Essential? I mean, he looks like a great player, right? Decent kind of value, I would say. Here in this save, 850k to 9.4 million. Not too bad at all. But the issue we have with this player is that, look, he's a fairly inconsistent performer according to my scout here. And also, he may have trouble settling, right? Fairly susceptible to problems when it comes to living in another country. Fairly susceptible to injuries as well. I mean, that's 2, 3, 4 things already which you don't want to be having to deal with, right? So unfortunately, Ezequiel Barco comes on our list as well. David Neres, quite a popular name, quite a recognizable name, I would say. Brazilian, 24 years old, playing for Ajax. Definitely could be easily signed by someone who's not really paying attention to the hidden attributes or the scout reports, right? Dribbling 17, first touch 16, technique 16, flair 17, acceleration, pace. He looks like an easy trap to fall into. But when we do our due diligence and we head into our reports, we can see, okay, look, in the interest of balance, he does enjoy big matches, which is great. But here we can see that inconsistent performer. That is a red flag waving so high in the sky that we can see it from miles away, and we steer clear of the David Neres trap. Stefano Sensi next, right? Looks on the surface of it like a really good player for his position. 25 years old, centre midfielder, first touch, passing, technique, teamwork, vision, flair, decisions, great mentals, decent physicals as well. But wow, this guy, you need to wrap him in cotton wool, right? If he's going to the toilet, you need to send someone with him to hold his hand, right? That's how bad it is. When we look at his scout report, we get that indication as well from our scout, right? Could have a real problem with injuries. I think that's the kind of the strongest wording we've come across in this video so far. Could have a real problem with injuries. It's a deep dark red color, and although look, he relishes big matches, which is great, and is a fairly consistent performer, which is also great, it's not worth the risk, in our opinion, with this big fat red injury problems which he could have. Dan-Axel Zagadou next, a centre-back playing for Dortmund, could become available quite cheap in your save, so could be very tempting, but we would suggest that potentially that could be a trap, right? But these attributes are enticing. Strength 18 for a 22-year-old, jumping reach 18, he's 6'5", tackling and technique already, as well as marking and positioning and composure. His mentals are good. He's got stats exactly where you want them, right? But guess what? Injuries. A big fat red con here. Could have a real problem with injuries yet again. The same as the previous fella. A huge big fat red flag for us. Not interested. Although he's got excellent stats, if you're signing a centre-back, you want him to be playing like 30 games a season for you, right? Alongside the other centre-back. You don't want to be having to take him out because of injuries and put the backup centre-back in. Usually, in most teams, that would mean a huge drop-off in quality in your first 11, right? Zagadou, you look great, but when you lift the bonnet, unfortunately, it's not for us. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to smash the like button, hit subscribe if you are new to FM Scout, and why would you be? Come on, let's hit that subscribe button. If you want to check out my channel, it's linked in the video description. I'll also put it up there. It's called FM Wonderkids. We talk about Wonderkids and the like. Really appreciate it if you came and joined me over there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.